Next speaker, we are changing from green trees to green hotels. Okay. Niranjan Khatri, I was really impressed to talk to him. What really I liked is not only the number of awards he got as a Green Hotelier Award, Parivartan Sustainability Leadership Award, writing 2 books to help hotel industry. And my last name is Patel, and a lot of people say that Patel, hotel and motel go together. But Mr. Khatri has really put together a very nice sustainability experience in those books and bring in, and I think a lot of hotels can benefit from this, because with the hotel comes a lot of expense in the energy infrastructure, and all the things that go with it are not friendly. So I really, I'm happy to say about his experience in the islands hotels, where ITC hotels, where he was there for 40 years. And to make those hotels sustainable and all that thing goes with it. And with that, I really got pleased with this word, green job skills. I think he will explain a little bit more in his talk, but certainly for IIT is a very important one. The word green jobs in the green technologies, green economy, that's a transition to them, but you will need those engineers that can help that. So with that, I will invite Niranjan Khatri to share his experience with us.
Thank you, sir. My presentation.
Yeah, so I think you just have to go one more.
Where?
Yeah, there.
This one, page down?
Page down, yeah. This one.
Okay. Okay, fine. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to play a 3 seconds game. Madam, will you please come and play a 3-second game with me? How to open a Matchbox. It's a very simple game. Only catch is that it's a transparent Matchbox, and I show you how to open it. Are you from India or from US?
I'm from US.
Oh, US, okay. There's a $5 note in this. If you open it, it's yours, and if you don't, you give me $500.
Oh, wow.
And I'll show you how to open it. Please come up. Please come up. And what's your name, madam? Meena. I'll show you how to open it. 1, 2, 3. I shut it. And when I count 1, 2, 3, you're going to open it now. And your time starts now. 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, Meena, your time is up. Don't go away. Please give her a round of applause for failure. And I'd like to gift you a book on how to employ people with disabilities and how industries are doing it in India. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I love this quote of Helen Keller. It's a terrible thing to see and have no vision. And you must be aware of the 6 blind men who identified an elephant wrongly because they could not see. And they thought the elephant looks like a rope or a snake or a spear, depending on which body part they touched. And among these 6 blind men, I was also a blind person. 31 years back, I was posted in Port Blair, a small place, Andaman Nicobar Islands. And I was a general manager of a 5-star hotel. I did not know the spelling of environment those days. And thanks to Admiral Govil, who was the Commander-in-Chief of the Navy, he called me up a month after I landed up there, and he said, Niranjan, please do something about your packed lunch boxes. They're lying all over the island. And I was very naive and 34-year-old, and I said, yes, sir, I'll do something about it. And then I got a similar request from the conservator of forests. He said, Niranjan, please do something about your tourists. They are messing up the corals, the trees, etc. And again, I told him yes. But then I started feeling very guilty that I'm saying yes to the people but not performing. And therefore, after 2.5 months, it occurred to me, why don't I appeal to the good sense of the tourists? And we put a small sticker on the packed lunch box. please do not litter the island, please bring it back to the hotel. We didn't know that we started extended producer responsibility or product stewardship. And this led to enhancing our reputation with the local administration from -10 to +10. That was an external view of the initiative of this sustainable development journey that I started with. And then we didn't know about life cycle analysis, life cycle costs, cradle to cradle, all these terminologies were completely absent. But we did an analysis of all the uses of paper in our hotel, and we started saving money. And the location of the hotel is such that it had only a 30% occupancy. So you either enhance your revenue or you reduce your costs. The opportunities for enhancing the revenue was very limited because the flights used to come only twice a week, and the priority of the flights was for the Army, Navy, Air Force, and the civil administration, and last priority for tourists. So this is the backdrop that I'm giving you. And the hotel that I was operating those days was a managed property. It did not have a generator, no deep freezer, no walk-in cooler, no gas. I was selling beer in a champagne bottle. So, so once we got the taste of saving money through our operations, we went into many areas. And we eliminated the use of a canister which said that this has CFC and CFC causes the ozone hole. So we were not even aware of the Montreal Protocol in '88, but we said, no, we are not going to use this. And the substitute for CFC canister was a incense stick to knock off the malodor from the room in case it lingered on. And our energy efficiency measures started in a very humble way. I found that most of our guests were going out of the room and they wouldn't switch off the air conditioner. So we put a small sticker on the switch, please switch off the air conditioner when you're not in use. We were not very aware of climate crisis. But over the years, the crisis increased, and then in '94, I suggested to my organization that we should inventorize our emissions, and finally we did that. And our hotel, we have a hotel called the ITC Shonar in Kolkata, which is the first and still the only hotel which got money under the CDM program. And in Port Blair, I asked my engineer, our hotel was made of teak wood, so I asked him, how many trees have you cut to make this hotel? So nobody had asked him a question before. So he said, oh, 500 trees. I told him plant 20,000 trees. We didn't plant 20,000 trees because there was no space, 87% forest cover in the islands. But we did plant 1,500 saplings. It was a symbolic gesture. And where did we do this? We did it in the airport so that we attract the eyeballs and enter the perceptual arena of the opinion makers and shapers' mind. And we put up a huge hoarding over there. Planting trees is every individual's and organization's responsibility. Today, you'll be happy to know that the United Nations has got a program called REDD+, Reduction of Emission of Destruction, Decimation of the Forest. And what we did in 1988 was basically a symbolic gesture of starting compensatory depository afforestation. Compensate for what we had used and deposit for the future. The story is very long, and I have a lurking feeling that IIT doesn't like me. They've asked me to share 31 years experience in 20 minutes, like sucking a football through a 50-feet hose pipe. Thank you very much, Raj. Have you seen stars during the daytime? I'm sure none of you have seen stars during the daytime. My team and I, we saw stars during the daytime on 1st of April 1990, when our water supply was cut from 10 KL to 2 KL without forewarning. There was no Cape Town, there was no Chennai, and there was no reports of 21 cities going dry. I didn't know how to run a hotel with 2,000 liters of water for a hotel with 45 rooms and 65 staff. So I called my engineer, I told him, Thomas, from tomorrow you'll not give water to Raj Rajaram. He said, what did you say? I said, you're not going to give water to Raj. So he said, what will we do? I said, no, we'll keep a letter in the room stating that, Raj, if you want water, call up housekeeping. He calls up housekeeping in the morning, and he's asked, why do you want water? He'll hesitatingly say for toilet, a bucket of seawater would travel to his room. If he said for bathing, a bucket of fresh water would come to his room. It was very annoying running a hotel like this. So I told Thomas, we can't be running a hotel like this. What do we do? He said, boss, let's break our entire iron pipeline, replace it with plastic pipeline, use seawater for flushing. It took us 6 months to do that work, which would have taken only 20 days over here because of logistic issues. Then I told my chef, your cooks are not going to wash the vessels with fresh water first round. First round will be with seawater, final rinse with fresh water for obvious reasons. I told my staff, have bath anywhere in the 365 islands in the archipelago, but not in the hotel. And during this period, the local politician became our biggest enemy, because once in a while we used to water the garden, and he got very angry. He said, my people are not getting water to drink, and these guys are watering their garden. So when this message came to me, I said, hey, this guy is talking sense. We stopped watering our garden. Our garden became Thar Desert. So then I told Thomas, I'm running a business. I have to keep all my stakeholders happy. So I told him, you dig a well. He was horrified. He said, boss, we are on the coast, we'll get seawater. I said, no, Thomas, our lobby level is here, sea is here. You dig a well at 6 stories height and go up to third story. In one rainfall, we collected 2 lakh liters of water, and we used that water for gardening. Our problem was still not solved. Then we made a drainage at the edge of the roof, and we harvested rainwater. Then we shared this knowledge with my competitive hotels, and my finance guy got very upset with me. And I told him that, look, this is an issue of not competition, it's about collaboration. Then I realized, and those days there was no Google, and there was no KPMG and EY. We didn't even know if they existed, because we're talking of an era when India was not open. So I told him, then I got extremely alarmed. I said, oh my God, if this is going to happen on a small scale over here, in future it's going to be a big problem. And then I started writing letters to the administration. I wrote to the local administration stating that this problem has occurred because the Northeast monsoon failed in 1989, and therefore in 1990, you have rationed the water for the right reasons. But now we must ensure that we mitigate this kind of difficulties in future by changing the building bylaws so that new homes will design their homes with water harvesting facility and existing homes will retrofit. They said, good idea. They put up this news in the newspaper, but was implemented in 2017. The point I'm telling you is that a lot of things that we did out there has become a reality. And we only did extrapolation based on our difficulties on energy, waste, water, etc. And today when I talk to hoteliers, I show them this picture, which is on the right. I said, look, guys, how do you like this picture? They say it's a beautiful picture. I said, would you like your wife to do this? And then I correlate it to our hotel practices. There's a survey in US which says only 5% of the tourists use the bathtub, yet all the hotels all over the world put a bathtub. You have a capex disadvantage, you have an opex disadvantage. It doesn't make sense. So the point that I'm trying to make is that incremental change, the time for incremental changes is gone. We need transformative, disruptive changes and architectural changes. And instead of looking at the branches of the problem, we should go for root cause analysis of the problem. Nobody talks about population, nobody talks about lifestyle management. For example, in this particular conference, I shouldn't have come in a coat, but knowing my own industry, we cool up the place first and then, make people uncomfortable. Whereas if hotels change their behavior by asking the people who booked the conference, would you like us to run the AC at 28 degrees? Or would you like us to run at 22 degrees, which is the standard practice? The standard practice is completely anachronistic. It goes against climate change. We talk of climate change, but we don't practice it. So how do we now get into identifying or purchasing products based on the embodied water of products and processes? If I'm buying this, I should know how much water has gone into making it. Today, that data is not there. Now, there's a beer company in Africa which says that to provide you this bottle of beer, we have used only 4 liters of water. If all products have this, then through the wallet of the people will make a purchasing decision based on the resource intensity of products. And we need this on a scale as of yesterday. And it's very simple to optimize resources. We don't need high technology. Yes, we do need that. But there's so many things which is under our nose. And I come from a very wasteful industry. And I've been conducting 14 or 15 sessions across the country in the last 14, 15 months. And I've told them that, look, you've heard about Cape Town, you've heard about Chennai. It's going to happen to 21 of our sons in various cities. So what are you doing? There's deafening silence. Then I said, look, can we now start serving water in small pegs and large pegs in the restaurant? The logic is, I don't know what is Raj's thirst quotient. I'm using a new word. Our vocabulary has to change completely. And unless our vocabulary doesn't change, we are not going to make significant changes. And how do we ensure that we account for every nano drop of water? We are not doing that today. because the cost of water is so low that's not on our radar screen at all. I went to California in San Francisco in 2015. I was very impressed when I went to the Ocean Museum. They said, you know, California is in the midst of a drought, so if you use less water, then these creatures will get some water. So I saluted that lady mentally. Go out for lunch outside that aquarium, and my industry friends are giving a glass which is the size of the Empire State Building with 20 cubes of ice. I said, hello, I wish this lady teaches all these guys how to change their service design. In Port Blair, we did not know about circular economy. We did not know that we moved away from linear production process to a green circular process. We started waste segmentation in 1988. All our wet garbage went to the garden. We converted to manure. Our spent cooking oil was converted into soap and used for washing. Then we scaled up that idea by giving our spent cooking oil to Indian Railways. They're running an engine with it. And today the biodiesel movement is coming into place. And we did not have terminologies like, you know, life cycle analysis, life cycle cost, root cause analysis. Nothing was known to us. But in the bliss of a small pond, in geographical isolation, without any interference from anyone, we did the right things, which made economic sense, environmental sense, and social sense. Yeah, the story is very long. We did work on all these fronts. In 95, I was talking in a conference in Delhi, and the head of ILO, that lady, came to me in the tea break and said, will you write your story on Andaman Nicobar Island? I said, okay, I'll check with my boss. My boss gave me the permission. I wrote a story called The 4 Hours of Andamans. It's there in the public domain for ILO, and that material was used for training all over the world, because my engineer who helped me to implement all this, he went to Nairobi in 1994. He joined a resort there. His owner asked him to attend a program in 97, and when he went there, he got this case study which we both had done together. And on a turnover of 50 lakh or $500,000, we saved 10% without any external help. And then when this United Nations SDG program came up, Sustainable Development Program, they have 17 indicators, as you might be aware. I did an analysis of what we had done 31 years back, and we found that we conformed to all the 17 indicators. Thank you. I am a very restless and impatient person. I'm not happy with what has happened in the past. It's not a big deal. Yes, the concepts that were implemented in the small hotel got scaled up in a $7 billion company called ITC, which I was working for till about 5 years back. And it's the only company in the world which is water positive, carbon positive, and solid waste recycling positive. But now I'm working for Skills Council for Green Jobs. It's a quasi-government organization. And I have been trying to pursue the government to start Bureau of Water Efficiency, so that every organization does its water footprinting and must be featured in the annual report with a declining trend. No landfill policy. The time for just segregating waste is gone. If the government announces a no landfill policy, then the industries will apply their creative juices to reduce their waste in a timeline of, say, 5 to 10 years. That's a matter of detail. And there's so much malnutrition in Asia and in our country, and women give birth to children with disabilities because of malnutrition. So in 2016, I went to a small village and started something called Bank of Nutrition, where this NGO is now giving 4 kinds of plants to rural people: a lime, banana, guava, and drumstick or moringa. Because if they plant this behind their house, you are raising their nutritional profile. And it's a low-cost strategy. Now, from 1, it's become 15, doesn't excite me. I interact with policymakers in Delhi. I said, look, there's an agency called NABARD in India, which has a rural reach. This NABARD should be doing this on a low scale, because we need to have low-cost and high-return strategy, because I got a taste of that in Port Blair. There was hardly any expense, but we saved money. And I'd like to end by quoting Paul Hawken. He has written a book called The Ecology of Commerce. He said the sustainable development practices that we are following currently is akin to bailing out the Titanic. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.